Hi, I'm Chris Bockelman, VP Growth at Qualified. I'm joined here today by Joe Leverson, Head of Marketing Operations at Gamma. Thanks for being here today, Joe. I was hoping you could start off by giving us a little background about yourself.
Yeah, sure. Name's Joe. Work for a wonderful company called Gamma. So B2B communications, think Microsoft Teams, think contact centers, think unified communications, all of those lovely little things. My job here is running the marketing operations setup, everything from demand generation to the technology that helps support the generation and capture of that, and then the ongoing enablement of the marketing team at Gamma across Europe.
Awesome. Thanks, Joe. I guess we could get right into it. We're here to talk about MQLs. The story is they've served us well over the years, but I have to say I don't know if they're going to make it in this next phase of pipeline generation now that the AI worker is starting to become so powerful. I should probably start by giving a quick overview so everybody's on the same page about how we got to the MQL process we have today. Everybody remembers about 20 years ago, you used to get all your your sales leads via inbound phone line. People would call in, talk on the phone, wait for a sales rep, and start their buying process there. But as technology advanced, websites became more popular, and it became a lot easier to submit leads. People would fill out lead forms, and the volume of leads went up and up. And organizations needed more reps to work the leads and turn these things into pipeline. Soon they realized there was a problem. Getting more leads didn't necessarily mean they were getting more pipeline, but they had to have more reps to actually work these leads. So the problem with the leads was actually the quality. To combat the problem, they invented the MQL rule. So the MQL rule was a way of gauging like how good are these leads based off of who they are, where they came from. And what turned out was MQLs kind of solved this problem. They'd be past SDRs, more MQLs meant more pipeline. In the end, the companies were able to actually measure what was coming in and predict what was going to come out on the other end. Joe, I was curious, what are your thoughts on MQLs throughout your career?
Love them, have loved them, always will love them. But it is a little bit time to say goodbye, I think, because it's just not where people are focused. It's not where I've been focusing for the last couple of years, actually. It's more like an internal measure for me. If I talk to the rest of the business about quality of pipeline generation, of lead generation, we don't discuss MQLs really. It's just a little measure that me and my nerdy team of bandits doing demand gen like to measure of like is it a better form field? Is it a better conversation, better web chat, that kind of stuff, as opposed to anything we would ever dream of communicating out to the rest of the business, I think.
Oh, that's great. That's great context. I think the other thing we're all curious about is like, as you've seen these AI SDRs start to pop up over, the past couple months or year, like, how have they been affecting your process, your MQL process? Do you think they're going to change these things? Like, how are you think they're going to help or change the way leads are followed up with?
So that's a good point. They've affected we've been working with Piper, the AI SDR since about February, I think. And so immediate kind of impact, we started slow, where we were kind of a little bit trepidous of how to embark on this journey, working in tandem with our humans on site, and it's from my experience, embracing the AI SDR route is kind of interesting because it gives us so much more scale to go not attack, to go engage with the type of people that perhaps our human guys wouldn't be immediately focused on. We want to use our guys' time. That is precious. We want them focused in the right areas, get the best bang for the buck, best engagement from them. And so an AI SDR helps us kind of like experiment with other traffic sources, other anonymous visitors, other people engaging on stuff that we wouldn't necessarily want a person to be researching, following up on, and engaging, all that kind of stuff. So it is an interesting thing, and it's definitely impacted our workflows. Almost immediately, it's given us a lot more scale, like I said, to be able to sort of triage everybody on site, and every kind of engagement we're having on site, we're able to decide whether or not to engage with these people and let our guys focus on more high value activities.
That's awesome. And I mean, as you stated, you guys are kind of already in a more progressive motion there. Like a lot of organizations that we've seen, tend to still have form fills, still follow up after the fact, still manage IRT. And you guys are talking about doing a bunch of this stuff on the site. So that's fantastic to see. All right. I mean, I'm going to keep it going here and start talking about how we think some of this stuff could change in the future. Because one of the things we've talked about is initial response time. That was kind of the big thing that came after the MQL, right? Do you guys manage IRT, or have you before in the past?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's something we still hit on pretty hard. We, the guys in the inbound team, proud of what they do. They try and hit at least a 5-minute kind of response rate for an inbound.
Wow, that's good.
Quite impressive. They're quite aggressive with that. With it, they need to be very disciplined on how we're gathering the information for them. Making sure our processes are sort of in place. But also they need to be very disciplined, because you don't get a lot of time to research. You don't get a lot of time to prep for the callbacks, for the follow-up. And so having that kind of stringent IRT in place sort of negates maybe a bit of the personalization angle that you can really go and follow up and give your best shot at it. That's on one level of what we're after, because, the advent of the type of technologies that you guys deliver has sort of scraped that away. What's, an IRT for your platform, for a conversation hand raiser in Qualified? If someone's waiting 5 minutes to have a chat back, a reply, well, they're dead. They're gone. They are annoyed. They're annoyed at waiting for 5 minutes. So if they're inbound requesting a chat, if that isn't an immediate response, I mean, I'd give it 30 seconds and you're left.
Yeah.
More.
Yeah.
People bounce on a website page in less than 10 seconds. Well, 2 seconds if it's not loaded properly. People are gone.
Yeah, exactly.
So responding to a WhatsApp message-esque style kind of conversation on site, it's got to be an immediate response, really. And
that makes
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say that makes a ton of sense. That's why, one of the first things we've thought about as we're saying this concept of MQL is probably going to change. We're now able to do all these real-time interactions on the site. It's really a different world than what it was in the past, where everything went through a form. There was a router, there were MQL rules. There's this whole process that gets these things distributed to reps. That's the first part of why this thing's kind of something that we probably need to start challenging. I mean, the other part you alluded to too, which is your team focuses on speed, right? And some of the personalization and who these people are, especially for the highest intent folks, kind of goes to the wayside. So, I mean, that's something else that, with the, revolution of, the AI worker here, we're really able to start to challenge, these things can bring a ton of context out of your systems into these messages that are going out to folks on a one-to-one basis. So, I mean, there really are some things to really, change it up here as far as what the process was and where we're going in the future. With that said, what do you think is missing from the MQL and form fill process currently? If you could wave a magic wand and change it all to be perfect, what would you do?
Oh, loads. If I could wave a magic wand. So think about the concept. Okay, so let's go for not your well-stacked company, but the typical sort of broad brush of businesses operating out there that may not have Qualified, may not have your de-anonymization, all of that stuff, but are still following your best practices. You want a short form fill. You don't want to give chapter and verse. You're not giving the inbound prospect enough space, enough sort of points to fill in exactly what they want to talk to you about. If you sell a single service product, fantastic. If you sell multiple products, not so fantastic. If you sell multiple products with multiple variations, even worse so. So say you're selling a bit of kit, could be multiple flavors. You're giving someone what you're going to put on your form? 5 fields, 6 fields? What are they possibly going to tell you other than their business card? So that's immediately broken anyway. Okay, so you're needing to now sort of guess. Are you capturing where the form fill was submitted to? Hopefully, yeah. So you might know it's on a product page. What if it's just on a contact page? What's this person want to sort of buy? Are they a customer already? Have you got that all synced up? So there's all sorts of stuff that really sort of like bugs me on what people are being told is best practice, small forms, short forms. And if you're not geared up with the right technology to go and support that, you're in a lot of trouble. If I was to sort of wave a magic wand, it would literally be like, here's a form fill, SDR. Actually, here's all the context behind it. Here's the deep sort of information. Here's the journey this person's been on to find your form. They've submitted on the contact sales page, but actually they visited product A and then product B. Then they looked at product B in all this detail and blah, blah, blah. Oh, by the way, they attended a webinar last year and now they found you on a Google ad. I would wave that magic wand and pummel all of that information into my SDR because they're going to have a better result, aren't they? They're going to have a better conversation. And they're going to have a better chance of like making that experience. Someone's taken time to fill out that form. So what they don't want is a conversation coming back at them. Hi, what do you want? Imagine you can have that conversation straight away by, I know what you want and I know the journey you've been on. So let's cut to the chase and I can help add some value to that.
No, that makes a ton of sense. I mean, in that world, I think we'd have a lot more happy prospects and probably a lot more business if we could just help all these folks out. And that's really the world we're getting to, right? Like, these AI workers and AI SDRs like Piper, they're able to pull all this info from your systems, use it to personalize those messages. They've seen the history of what you've done. They can use it in real time to personalize those messages to you. They can do the interactions in real time on your site. You don't need to sit there and wait to hear a response from people. And, people who are even below the line can get responses here. It really doesn't make a difference. So I think, what you're getting at is like, can we just make this a great experience for everybody? And I think, we're getting there. Like, these things will really give us the scale, regardless of lead volume, to be able to really provide an awesome experience for everybody, to drive the next best step, to provide the content that they want next, to really drive the value of the product and the organization through to every single prospect that, gets to the site. I guess, like, where to wrap this all up, Joe, like, where do you think we're going? Like, I asked you to wave your magic wand and say how you'd fix things now, but what do you think the future looks like, from an MQL perspective, from a pipe gen perspective? Like, what do you see coming up here in the future?
I come at things from a very sort of structured, if this, then that kind of approach.
Yep.
And this kind of world, where, we have basically a personalized attack book, playbook for every single website visitor that you can't possibly, you could spend a year's worth of infinite days trying to map out exactly what can happen. I think this is the exciting part of it, that we're about to kind of like embark on a place where you can triage everybody independently. And you can do it based off the kind of technology that we're all getting very comfortable in using and seeing very sort of like interesting, incredible kind of results. And it can be trained off your own literature, your own product material, your own website, your own tone, all of that stuff. So we're able to give kind of like a very authentic and personalized journey to everybody on site. And we're able to do that in a way that we never have before. And I think that's incredible for getting return on investment out of advertising budgets, website budgets, product launches, everything, event follow-ups, event kind of like, and just being able to join the dots of all this disparate information that a human is never going to be able to digest or even have awareness of, in near enough real time is really exciting. And it's the stuff that I love in this kind of blend of demand generation, pipe gen, and technology and operations. Is why I love working in this way. I think it's just really, really genuinely exciting.
Oh man, that was great. Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself. And I'm excited about the same things, having a similar background in marketing operations. It's really exciting to see all this stuff come to fruition and start to think about how we're going to use it to, be better companies and provide better experiences in the future. With that being said, I wanted to thank you for being here today, Joe. It was great getting to talk to you. If anybody has any questions or wants to talk MQLs or AI SDRs or have any, comments about what Joe and I were talking about, feel free to put it in the chat. We'd love to have that conversation with y'all.